Yes, yes. We're back again. We're back again, y'all. We're back again. Let's get into this decode. Y'all see the correlation between the father versus the further. Now, I always speculated that if you wanted to see the Godhead, which they call the Father or Yahweh, uh, they also call him Yahweh. This deity goes by many names. El, uh, the god Osiris in Egypt. When you talk about Egyptism, you're talking about flat Earth as well. Now the thing is, when you're talking about the further in Egypt cosmology, you're talking about the pyramid. But in ancient cosmology, the father would be considered Polaris, the North Pole god, Polaris. And I think, hold on, all right, let's get back to it. So the North Pole god, Polaris, would be considered the most high because Polaris is the brightest star, one of the most brightest stars in the cosmos. And it appears over the North Pole, aka 33rd degree. Now, the thing is, they say the further is basically a black hole, or who they call the Grim Reaper. As you can see, he's the Grim Reaper, and he is also Father Time. Now, the thing is, when you go into this black hole or this black box, which could be personified as the Merkaba cube or the Jack out the box. Now, the thing is, this dude right here, he is experiencing spaghettification, but he is trapped in a whirlwind called Saturn. Okay, pay attention. Saturn is Satan or Shaitan. But the thing is, Shaitan or Satan, he also is one half of the demiurge. Look at the Egypt social pyramid. The pharaoh or the godhead, which is interchangeable at times, but he is personified as the most high deity over everybody else. Now, as you can see, this pyramid or what they call an ancient ziggurat has step. This is basically a step pyramid, a personification of a step pyramid, but the steps are the stairways to heaven. And how you break this down is the journey. See, the journey is the Father. How far you go, because guess what? If you get caught up by one of these gate guards, your life or your timeline is cut short. Now they got you on a timeline, but they have this thing called the Akashic records, and a record is shaped like a disc. A disc. This is the Akashic records because this god they call Saturn, he's the god of repetition. Okay, he's the god of repetition, and this is why you feel this way. This is why you feel like you doing the same thing over and over and over again because you are basically in the realm of Saturn. Earth is Saturn when you're dealing with the rings or what they call the Lord of the Rings. That is Saturn. And you have El sitting in the middle, personifying Christ, or what they call the 33rd degree. And there's your 33rd Freemasonic emblem right here. And like I said before, he is sitting in the middle of the cosmos. because this God personifies electricity. Okay, this is the God of power. Now the thing is, Zeus also personifies electricity. So the thing is, these gods are archetypes for actual things we do on Earth with technology. These are tech gods and tech gurus because they need electricity to power their grid. Now, let's get into this, family. This video right here. Look, this document or this thumbnail that I drew up, it synthesizes the esoteric and religious concepts of the Father versus the further in the flat Earth decode into a cohesive ideological framework and visually represented in the accompanying thumbnail. This thumbnail is very intricate and it tells you everything you need to know. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but it's very detailed. Y'all get what I'm saying? These concepts, while distinct, interweave to present a unique perspective on creation, existence, and the journey of consciousness. Now, the thing is, everything comes from the center out. So, this would be where Christ or the mind of Christ, or they call it the pioneer or the pinnacle. And as you can see, when you're talking about the Big Bang, you get this shattering effect. But the thing is, the shattering effect is nothing but a black hole. And this is where the concept of the stars being in the firmament are like black holes with light coming. That ain't nothing but another world. These stars and universes are just gateways to the other side. So, or what they call a star gate. But these stars are represented as gate guards, you know, in the cosmos. They're represented as gate guards, which is the journey to be reborn again. But this device right here, this machine that lies in the middle of what they call Rufus Nigra, is a magnetic mountain. And every soul that dies has to take this journey up the magnetic mountain. As you can see in this layering concept, but this is your pyramid right here, or what they call Mount Meru in the middle of the universe. This would be El because Christ resides as a rock. Another word for Christ is the rock. What is the rock? The rock is magnetic. So Christ would be personified as this God they call Magneto or the X. But if you look at the Mercator map, let's pull up the flat Earth, what they call Hyperborea. You see the X right here on Hyperborea with Rufus Nigra in the middle right here. And Polaris would be right above it right here. And this is the paramount because Christ had to get mounted on the cross on a mount. He had to be mounted or lifted up. But the pyramid is already telling you that it's already personifying a layering system. But this is your black rock or your Kabbalah cube is black and gold are Masonic colors. That's the Masonic beehive. And like I said, this would be personified as the paramount. The paramount. And this is your Hyperborea right here. That's the Holy Grail. This is your creation story because everything branched out from, and they said that if you uh basically like strip all your veins out your body, it would reach to the damn star. That's how they said it. That's what they said. I don't know if it's true or not, but they said your veins and your blood vessels they extend that far. So I don't know how true that is. I really don't know how true that is, but y'all get the drill. It's an extension of the Most High. Okay, what does it say? And a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from thence it was parted, and that became the four heads. Now that's the four heads, but guess what? They letting you know that's a polar vortex, and you get sucked in. But that is also, hold on, let me pull this up. Let's see. I don't even know if I'm spelling that right. So let me pull this up. You get the same damn effect right here with the swastika. That's your four rivers of Euphrates. This symbol was known everywhere, and it was personified in this polar vortex right here. Okay, and you see it's connected of Nazism that the swastika has in its Western countries, family. This is the polar vortex or the swirl. These elites they represent a polar vortex or what they call Polaris. They personify Polaris as the Most High. Okay, so when y'all say when you see this symbol on somebody, you automatically think white supremacist and all that shit. No, this is ancient technology of how to build a free energy generator or how to recycle your energy. And this is the Tetragrammaton or the Holy Grail, family. It's the four rivers of Euphrates. And guess what? The man with the mustache, he already knew that. He already knew that. But did you? No, probably not. Probably not. The Father represents the ultimate source, the divine eternal archetype from which all creation emanates. Esoterically, this concept aligns with the monad or the unmanifested absolute consciousness that is the origin of all being. It embodies divine intelligence, order, and stability. Symbolically, the Father is associated with radiant light that is personified as Polaris, or who they call the light bearer. Who is the light bearer? The devil, the Christ, the demiurge. They are the one that bears the light of the pole, or they call Polaris. This is the North Pole God. Okay, this is the North Pole God, Shaitan, and his colors are Diablo red as well. But red represents the bull. See, when a bull see the bull is basically the bullseye too. And as you can see in the middle of this flat Earth cosmos, the middle would be the bullseye. The bull, and they worship the eye of Yah, the eye of Yah, or the eye of Ra. Okay, And this is the farther. The farther you go, the less regrets you have to live with. Okay? That's how they got this thing all mapped out. So the Father is associated with radiant light, often golden or white, signifying revelation and clarity. Geometric forms as a triangle, like I told you, representing the Trinity. That's the triangle with the eye in the middle, the eye of Yah. In some religious contexts, or the circle, or who they call Kirk. We did the Charlie Kirk decode, the flat earth decode uh, as well. Denoting unity and infinity are frequent used to depict this foundational principle. Attributes like wisdom. And see, the thing is, this is why they said you have to be centered, because this this whole this they call it Polaris, but they also call it the black hole sun as well. But it's also a hyperboloid, a magnetic hyperboloid. This how this archetype is built is to recycle souls. That's why they call Earth Saturn. See, back in ancient times, Earth was personified as Saturn. Okay, so these elements are acting as planes of demonstration where the ideologies of the father and the further converge and interact, as you could tell, where you get these magnetic ley lines. They are, and this is your concept of Charlotte's web too. This is a web or the internet or the ether net. When you're talking about the ether in the firmament, this map is also associated with the Gleason's azimuthal expedition projection uh, map, places the North Pole in the center with Antarctica surrounding it. And what does it say? It says, I'm the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. Where does it end? The church. The church is the end. If you read what's in end times with the seven churches, and those are directly in correlation with the seven continents, family. So they letting you know. So, like I said, this is all symbiotic and it's a representation of the world we live in. Because guess what? You have to conquer your demons. And when you slay those demons, you basically put yourself in higher planes of existence. And and it takes time. That's why it says father time. You basically going against the elements. It's man versus God at this point, because you got people trying to fight you fighting time, father time. I told you this guy go by many names, but he's not subject to one name. That's why I said all these religious texts, they all say the same thing, just with different characters because of different cultures. See, different people worship different gods because they want their god to look like them. Every every person on this earth, every culture on this earth got a different god, but they all had the same characteristics. isn't that isn't that something? Isn't that such hypocritical nature? But I'm gonna do part two. I don't think y'all ready for information like this. The Father is the further. That's the journey to the Most High. And if you don't know the journey or your personal journey, you're cut. You're cut. This is what religion does. It puts a cap on the journey, and you become a kappa. Your knowledge is capped. If you think you ever met somebody that think they know it all, that means their journey is cut. Oh man, this is the end all be all. No, it's not, dummy. It's not. What makes your your ideology the end all be all? That's all I want to know. Your journey's cut. And see, people already seem like they connected to the Most High when they already cut off their knowledge because they think this ideology is the only one, but in all actuality, it's all of them. So I'm about to end it with that. I'm about to end it with that, and I'll do part two. I don't think y'all ready for this type of esoteric, but yeah, I'm out. We out.